A while back, I made and released a simple mobile game called Warehouse, where the goal was to craft supplies from scavenged materials and defend against zombies. The only issue was, the game was absolutely terrible. There's not really any logic to what the player has to do. These people just stand at a station, and when they have the required resources, start crafting the station's recipe. The only way of gaining more materials was also poorly implemented, as it's just completely random. When a worker is standing at a scavenger station, they've randomly pulled out scrap or food, and there isn't any way to gain more. So what I plan to do over the next 48 hours is completely change this game into something that at least makes sense. So how do I start? Well, I've got a copy of the project here, and basically what I have to do is take all these scripts, slide them straight into the bin, and start fresh. As I'm only giving myself 48 hours for this revamp, I've got to keep it simple, and I think I've got a pretty good plan for this game. I aim to combine the resource gathering and zombie tapping gameplay into a single screen and filter it down into its simplest form, as a form of clicker game. So the premise is, a giant horde of zombies is wandering outside the base, and as you click them to deal damage, you gain resources, which will now be a single entity. First things first, I want to get the horde of zombies that just shamble about in a circle. So I could do this in a number of ways. I could create some complex shader that I place on a texture, which would be very performant, but I have absolutely no idea how to actually achieve this. Another way I could do this is just layer some zombies in paint.net and create some frames to animate a texture with instead. Again, be pretty performant and allow me to control exactly how it looks, but it would take quite a while to animate enough frames with various amounts of zombies or different type of zombies. So I think the best way to go about this is to create a bunch of zombies and animate them to move about freely within an area, which should be very easy to do and give me the most freedom with layering and positioning. It's technically not the best way to go about it, but with some tweaking and a bit of luck, it should be fine. So I'm going to set this up and we'll see how this looks. Hey, you should subscribe to my channel for amazing game dev content. Isn't that right, Ethereal singing guy? Okay, so here you can see me running a few tests with this spawning, and all the zombies stay within the radius and will randomly shuffle about the zone. For absolutely no reason whatsoever, I've decided to add a costume setting for the zombies. As it is nearly Christmas, or whatever date this is when this actually gets released, I wanted to spice it up a bit with some festive outfits, because even though they're dead, they can still spread festive cheer, as well as a brain-rotting virus. To make them not feel out of place, I've also decorated the area with some lovely snowmen, lights and trees, which should cheer these chaps up. For the interaction, I've added a circle collider to the horde to cover the entire thing, and using my clickable system from my last game, I can now very easily click on the zombie horde. As the horde has a collective health system, clicking anywhere on the horde will deal damage. To begin with, this is just one per click. By default, the horde has 10 health, and so when they are clicked 10 times, one of the zombies is randomly killed and the player is granted one supply. Now that the player has gained some supplies, they need something to do with them, so that's where the research tab comes in. Here you can craft all sorts of upgrades to increase your supply gain, to then afford the higher upgrades to earn even more supplies. It's that simple loop of progression that makes clicker games interesting. So what upgrades are available to the player? First one is a simple damage upgrade. At the start you deal 1 damage per click, and with each upgrade it'll double, so you can earn supplies even faster. But as the horde only contains a finite amount of zombies at any one time, you can't just spam them with an auto clicker to break the game. If you do want to do this, you're going to need the zombie bait to attract a fresh batch of supply carriers. This will decrease the refresh time on the horde, so it's important to balance these upgrades together. When you've amassed enough supplies, more survivors will want to come to your shelter, as you're clearly doing alright for yourself. And in return, they'll shoot at the horde for you, to save you from doing any actual work. They may not be the best, but they're trying. These guys are great at dealing with the zombies, unless of course some giant monster is charging at the base to take your precious supplies, but that would never happen, right? Oh. So giant zombies have a tendency to walk in and mess your survivor's day up by stealing all of the supplies and stopping them from farming the weak little ones. So the player actually has to do all the work to destroy them with some taps. And with a bit of polishing, here's the current state of the game. It's completely different from the original version, and that's truly for the best. The game currently makes sense, there's a cohesive path for the player, and the game has some charm about it. And as it's not a completely mindless carpal tunnel inducing clicker, the player has to actually pay attention somewhat. But one thing I haven't fully focused on so far is the honed scaling system for the supplies. Give the player too many supplies too quickly and they'll be done in no time. But if it takes too long, then they'll just stop playing if they feel like they're not making any progress. So it's time for a little maths lesson to make the game flow better. Basically, I need to work out how long it takes to get to a certain milestone. For example, the first damage upgrade will change the supply rate from 1 every 10 clicks to 1 every 5. For the smart ones out there, that's half the time it will take. So the subsequent upgrades have to be a lot more expensive to almost counteract the player's new gains. Obviously you want them to feel like this progression, but ultimately the player's just running on a treadmill. No matter how fast they're going, the treadmill just pushes them back into place. So I'm going to sit down, crunch the numbers, and get this worked out to where the player gains an upgrade or achievement every 30 to 60 seconds of gameplay to keep them engaged. Okay, so the numbers have been crunched, and the outcome is a fairly straightforward path of progression for the player to keep the zombies at bay, alongside some happy survivors. I've made this very scuffed diagram here to give you an idea of how it works, but I won't bore you too much with the ridiculous Excel spreadsheet I made to work it all out. The final feature I want to add is a prestige option, but once a player hits a certain milestone, they can choose to spend all of their supplies to move to a larger house. Each house will increase the max level of the upgrades, so the higher tiers are only available after prestiging. Basically, all this does in a technical sense is to change the sprite of the house and increase a few numbers in the store, but we'll add some longevity to the gameplay. And with that in place, the game is feature complete, exactly where I planned it to be. And with that, the refresh of the game is complete. It's absolutely nothing like the original game, and it was a great chance to do this conversion in a short time. But anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this video. Remember to leave a like down below and subscribe, because YouTube's algorithm makes no sense to me. Just look at my last video, like, what is that? Anyway, thanks for watching. Let me know what sorts of projects you want to see next, something old, something new, whatever. And I will see you in the next one. Cheers.